Hang on, people. So, quite a few people sent me this trespassing poachers almost shot us and he called cops from the Arms family homestead. Before everybody starts hating on me, this guy seems like a nice guy. He's spending time with his daughter and his kids. Seems like a good guy. But I'm a little disappointed on how this shooting incident played out. So let's take a look at the shooting incident in case you haven't seen a video. And you can go to this video. I'm using this under fair use just for critique. And I'm not trying to crack on him, and I don't want to make him look bad in front of his kids. I'm just going to, and this guy says he was a cop for I don't know how many years. So I was a little kind of shocked, but here we go. So he's sitting in a blind with his daughter, or I don't know if this might be his son. Again, I just watched the video once, people, so don't come here and tell me how. So they're looking at all these things, and if you want to go watch the video, you can. And then these poachers come up, and he watches them start approaching. So he says they're going to spook his deer. At some point, I think intent to shoot is there. He says later in the video, had he known they were going to shoot, he would have spooked the deer. Let's take a look at this.
They're about to be trespassers.
Yeah. Okay, according to this video, they already had to cross one gate. That's trespassing. And now his gate is a second trespass. So they're trespassing where they're walking right now, according to this guy. Again, I'm only going by what he's saying. And then this fence is his. And, I mean, I don't understand what's in their mind. If they shot a deer and if they killed it, they would have to climb over this fence and come get it. And, I mean, that's pretty risky in Texas. When you start climbing fences in Texas, the odds of you getting shot increases tremendously. Even though the law says you can't shoot somebody for climbing your fence. But if you have armed people approaching you, and you pop out with a gun and say, drop the gun, and then they aim or point at you, then a shooting occurs and somebody's dead. So they have their vest on, their hunting vest, so they don't get shot. And these guys have their vest on, except they're in a hidden blind, and they can't be seen. And, I mean, every year hunters get killed by other hunters. So, which is why it's advised that you wear, I don't even know if it's the law that you have to wear a vest. I'm not a hunter, so I don't know. Okay, so at this point, he says they better not. To me, as soon as I'm watching this, I'm like, dude, they're going to take a shot. Nobody sits down and aims. Now, you could argue that maybe they were just looking through the scope to see what the deer looked like and they weren't going to shoot. I'm not saying he could shoot him here, but I'm saying he could have said, hey, we're in a blind. Don't point a gun this way. You're trespassing. I think he could have stopped it. Now, if these guys were real poachers and you don't know if they're really bad guys and you do that, they could shoot you. So if I did that, I would probably be armed with my trusty gun to defend myself.
Can you see their face now? No.
So these deer are pretty close to his blind. He said 15 feet at one point, or 15 yards. I think 10 yards at another point.
They kneel down on the fence.
They better not take a shot.
So he says they better not take a shot, which kind of tells me he probably knew they were planning on taking a shot. But again, I'm not cracking on the guy for not doing. I'm just saying at what point do you get involved with people that have guns and that are about to shoot? to me, if I saw somebody point a gun, I got horses in my pasture. If I see you point a gun at my horses, I'm pointing a gun at you when I contact you. And if you turn that gun to me, it's on. So when he walks out, he doesn't have a gun. And that really kind of, I was like, what the? We'll get to that.
These two dudes are fixing to be trespassers.
So when he says this from a legal standpoint, if this were to go to court, let's just say his kid got killed. Guy shot and his kid got killed. And the court reviews this video. The defense is going to be saying, isn't it true that you knew they were about to shoot and you did nothing to stop them? And how could he say that's wrong? He could say, well, I didn't know they were going to shoot. I didn't expect them to shoot. I knew they were breaking a law. I thought maybe they were just looking. He could say all that, but I think the jury would probably be like, I think you knew they were going to shoot and you didn't do anything to stop them. So although they committed a criminal act and they're guilty, you're somewhat culpable for not stopping it or doing something. Don't come here and hate on me. This guy seems like a nice guy. I know I'm going to get heat for cracking on him. I'm not trying to do that. I want people to learn. I mean, that's why I do this, is to get you to understand how the courts and how defense attorneys is going to twist everything. And when you act or don't act or act late or choose the time to act, it can be good and it can be bad.
They're sneaking up on our deer, trying to take a shot of the 3 deer right in front of us.
They're on.
You be still. You be still.
Now, earlier I thought he aimed from back here, and now they moved up to this one and aimed again. So because the video jumps, I don't know what the time frame of this is. But in my mind, as an objective viewer, not taking in that I think this guy is 100% right, and this guy did nothing wrong, and if I was on a jury, I would absolutely convict these two knuckleheads, and I always lean on the side of who was doing nothing and who was doing evil and committing the act. That would be these guys. They're always going to be guilty. All ties go to evil in my book when I'm voting for who's wrong. So I'm not saying this guy is wrong by being, a bad guy. I'm saying legally and to defend himself and for others, this is what you could think about. A lot of time. They're stalking. They're sneaking. Now, some people may say, Rick, until they open that gate, they're not trespassing. I thought he said he was already on his property, but then he said, this is my fence line. I don't know if he was talking about this fence line where they were at first or this fence line. So, technically, they are not trespassing until they enter this gate or go over the gate. I think once he sticks a gun through that fence and his gun penetrates his fence line, I think the act of trespassing has occurred. Now, they would argue that his physical body didn't go. It was just a weapon, and a gun can't trespass, and just because the gun crossed the line, it's not trespassing. I would disagree, but legally, they may be correct. It may be that when any part of the body enters the land, you're committing trespassing. In my book, as soon as the gun penetrates the land, he's trespassing.
Be still.
So since the target is, and I'm just sitting here if I was on a jury looking at this. If you knew they were trying to get the deers and they weren't trying to shoot you because they didn't see you, and you knew the deer was what was going to probably provoke this into a shooting and maybe endanger you and your child, why wouldn't you identify yourself and scare the deer away and let them know that you were in the blind? Why didn't you do that? That would be the big question on the jury. And again, I'm doing hypothetical. Let's say these guys shot and ended up killing his kid or his wife or someone else on his property. If he killed a deer, not the end of the world. It's still bullshit. But, if he kills his daughter or a family member because he waited, that's not going to play well later. So they're leaning through the fence. They fire. And he reacts. He reacts a lot less than I would have been. You mother beep! Yeah, see that you couldn't beep out. It would be silent if you were beeping out everything I'd be saying when I'm coming out of that blind. But I would be armed, pointing a gun at them, and if I felt threatened at any point in time, the gunfight would be on. So he's actually pretty calm. Tells his kids to stay there, and he gets out with a camera and no gun. I was just shocked. Okay, so these guys running off is what a legal term is called consciousness of guilt. If they didn't do anything wrong, they would be like, dude, why are you yelling at us? We're out here hunting. We're legal, and so this consciousness of guilt act of running off, fleeing the crime scene, fleeing the area they know they did wrong, goes a long way to get a conviction in court later. Well, Rick, maybe they were just out jogging. You're just, whatever. You can come up with your stupid shit that these other idiots come up with. That is consciousness of guilt. They know they did wrong, and they're fleeing the scene of their crime. Okay, what the hell just happened? Man, I must have stopped it right as it changed. So as he walks out, he has no gun and he's holding a camera. I was like, are you kidding me? This guy was a cop. Don't come here and hate on me because I'm picking on this guy and I'm trying to make him look bad and I don't know him and he's really a good dude. And I'm not saying he's a bad dude. Relax, people. I'm saying this is a very bad tactical decision, in my opinion. I don't chase people with guns unless I have a gun. Just my rule. It's a simple rule. It's served me well throughout my life. I don't chase people with guns without a gun. Just a little food for thought there.
That's what you get!
When his kid yelled at I couldn't help but laugh. Okay, so look, he comes out of the blind because he's upset. I get it. He warns them. I get it. He tells his kid to stay in there. He's protecting his kid. I get it. But if he walks out there and challenges two guys with guns who just committed a felony, who may be, he doesn't know if they're convicted criminals. He doesn't know if they may be hunting illegally. They could be poaching. They just have vests on to make them look legal. He doesn't know if they're murderers or killers or drug dealers, or he doesn't know anything. He doesn't know that if they get caught, they think they're going to prison for the rest of their life or facing the death penalty. So they kill him. And they shoot and kill him. I mean, there's so many unknowns. When I saw, I was like, dude, you went and confronted two guys with guns. And I get, some people will be like, man, that's ballsy. He's not a coward. That was very brave of him to go out. Dude, there is a fine line between going out there and getting yourself killed and being brave versus being smart and not getting killed. He didn't get killed. I'm glad. But when I saw this, and so many people have been telling me this, saying, hey, what do you think about this? I mean, look, the guys are guilty. They're wrong. They're 100% wrong. This guy isn't criminally wrong in any way, shape, or form unless his kid got hurt. And I've seen parents turn on each other, and the mom goes, you took my kid out there. You saw him. You let him shoot. I'm going to testify for the prosecution against your ass. So if somebody wants to say that's not going to happen, it has happened. It's not unheard of for a mom to turn on the dad if the dad gets the kid hurt. Okay? My opinion, please don't come and hate on me. Please don't send the Arms family subscribers out to hate me and to beat me up and wish me dead and all the other things that these crazy people do when I evaluate things. All right? Well, in that there, we can argue it out in the comments. You can tell me how I got it wrong. Y'all have a good one.